Vernon Davis. Welcome to Good Morning Football at the Super Bowl. We are delivered by Papa John's on this Thursday live at the NFL Experience in Minneapolis. Peter Schrager, Nate Burleson, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, Hall of Famer, Vernon Davis, friend of the show. Best energy ever, Vernon Davis, always bringing it when he comes and hangs out with us. We are so excited to be here. We've had so many amazing guests, and let's just hit a lead block, shall we? Lead block! All right, here's what we do. That's how we do it here. No? I guess maybe sometimes. Yeah. Who knows? We are here with you guys, and first of all, Vernon, happy belated birthday.
Yeah.
What did you do? How was your birthday?
Thank you. Thank
you. You two partnering with something that's very near and dear to my heart, Cheetos. Tell me about it.
This is true. Yeah, you want to start?
We partner with Cheetos to bring more awareness to the sport of curling. A lot of people don't know what curling is, but once they find out, they're like, "Wow, this is amazing! This is awesome!"
Yeah.
They get a chance to go out on the ice. But it's been great. It's been great. We I don't know if you guys had a chance to see the performance we put on.
I saw
the
it.
ice.
Yeah.
Dan
Haley out there. Do the curl.
Do the curl.
We saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, man, this is one of the sports that, you know, I've, like, growing up, you see on television, like, you flipping through the channels and you see these guys doing this right here, and you're like, what is that? And you find out it's curling. And it's, you know, it's a sport that obviously, you know, we have a team, American team, that's competing next month.
Is Cheetos the sponsor? I mean, I love that Cheetos is involved with this. What's the Cheetos connection?
Me too.
Well, that's a good question.
It's for the food and the nourishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Cheeto crumbs act as somewhat of a grip, if you will.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, so these guys can really get it going. It fuels you.
We saw curling in the NFL this week. I think it was Golden Tate who had a celebration of curling after he scored a touchdown. So if you guys were starting your own curling team sponsored by Cheetos, Flamin' Hot variety, which NFL player would you add first to your team?
I would take someone off of the Eagles because they did it too. Remember?
They did.
Did you
Did
see
they do it too?
Yeah, the Vikings did. They scored early.
Nate wants
in the playoffs. Yeah, they did.
I want to be on the team, guys.
You want to be on the team? I've seen you dance, so I think you'll be good. I think you'll be
And I used to have an S curl back in the day. I don't know. I think that's a whole different thing. All right, so you know, before I get to my question, thank you guys for coming. You know, you made a mark on the game when after you get drafted, teams look for a version of you. They were all looking for the next LT, and then when he came in San Francisco, everybody's looking for the next Vernon Davis. Yeah. You guys made your mark on the game. Thank you for joining us. Now, Vernon, Kirk Cousins throwing you the rock. You know him. He is your quarterback. You actually came on our show and you said he's a true leader. You had some of your best football playing with him and catching rocks from him. As we know, Monday, Alex Smith gets traded. He goes to Washington, which means Kirk Cousins is out. So tell us about Alex, because you have experience with him. It's like the 6 degrees of Vernon Davis. Tell us about both quarterbacks. What are they getting Alex Smith? And for a team that will get Kirk Cousins, what are they getting in him?
Well, for Alex Smith, he's shown that he can continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know, he's grown year over year, and he's been doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I think he had his best performance this year.
Yep, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get a player who's willing to come in and work and just continue to get better. And Kirk Cousins, I'm saying Kirk. A lot of people say Kirk.
What's wrong?
Yeah. Kirk. You hear me, Kirk? If you're out there watching, you hear me, buddy.
Captain Kirk.
He's continuing to improve each and every year as well. He's doing everything he can to make strides. And his favorite player is Brady, so he wants to be just like Brady. And I feel that
like Brady.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. Maybe he'll take me to dinner. That'd be great. Yeah, maybe he'll take me to dinner.
LT, we got to ask you, because last year at this time, leading up to a very special Saturday night, something happens. You hear a knock on the door.
Yeah.
You open it up, and it's David Baker telling you you're going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. First ballot guy. Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Steve Hutchinson, they're all eligible.
T.O.
What would be their guidance to these guys who are finally eligible for the Hall of Fame?
I think just enjoy the moment, enjoy the process, try to soak it all in. There's so much stuff going on. Family members are gathering for this moment, but you really got to take time to just enjoy the moment, and because it's overwhelming when you think about the Hall of Fame. I mean, none of us dream about as players going to the Hall of Fame. That's not a dream that we had.
It's just not. Is that feasible? Is that
right? Absolutely. And so you really don't start to think about it until your career starts to, come to a close, like I did my last year. Then I started to think about maybe I have a chance at the Hall of Fame. So these guys, I'm sure they're excited, nervous, for a lot of them. but it'll be a great moment if they get the knock at the door.
Did you make everybody in the room just stay quiet all night? Was it a knock? Was it not a knock? What was it?
Right.
Because you're cooped up in a hotel room, right?
Yeah.
Waiting for a knock. And
What is that
sometimes
like?
But
the knock doesn't come.
But here's the thing: it's a knock at the door or a phone call. So the phone call says, "I'm sorry, you didn't make it.
Right.
Maybe next year." But the knock at the door, that's when you know you made
Did you
it.
cry?
So if you hear, absolutely.
You cried.
Oh,
Peter, the four of us cried watching him in Canton.
Right.
We're sitting at a table, emotional, bawling for you. We're so excited for you.
It was a moment unlike any other because I remember President David Baker said, "A kid that resides in Central Texas, you would now forever be in Canton, Ohio." And I had a flashback of my whole career of playing since Pop Warner, leading up to that moment, and it was just so overwhelming, to experience it.
Well, it's well deserved. You deserve to be in football heaven. Listen, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about that curling team and get Kate some Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Thank you. I love it, Flamin'. Thank you.
Johnson, Vernon Davis.
All right. Are we going to have Moose Johnston on right now? Let's do it. We love Moose Johnston here on the show. He is, in my opinion, the gold standard of the fullback position. He is a three-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's welcome friend of the show, Daryl Moose Johnston, joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you? Yep, you're hanging out with us today on behalf of Liberty Tax this year to share how customers can receive double their tax refund. Double? Really? Tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're trying to, you guys were very kind to us back in November when we came out with kind of getting everybody ahead of the curve going into tax season, trying to get that game plan set. And we're coming back now at Super Bowl, and we've got another incentive put in place. So if you go to Liberty Tax and file your taxes there, and then use the hashtag Liberty Tax Double, and tell us how you would spend your tax refund if Liberty Tax doubled it up to $2,500, or how you would spend it if they gave you up to $2,500 if you owed the government. We're going to pick two winners from that group, and then the great thing that Ed Bruno always does, who's the CEO at Liberty Tax, he ties in a charitable cause. So every time you tweet that hashtag Liberty Tax Double, it's going to trigger a donation. We're going to raise some money for the USO. So trying to get your game plan together. We are right in the middle of tax season right now. Don't wait till April 15th to get this done. So we're trying to incentivize people to get it done early.
Nate, I feel like he's talking to me.
Yeah, he's talking to both of us. Okay, now Moose, it was an interesting season for the Dallas Cowboys. There was a lot of attention paid off the field as well as on the field with everything that was going on. How would you describe the state of union of the Dallas Cowboys?
In transition right now. I think you make a great point right there with all the things that were happening during the course of the season. There was a lot of self-inflicted distractions, and as you guys know, you try to minimize the distractions during the course of the season as much as you can, knowing that some of them are just going to naturally happen, but some self-inflicted ones for Dallas this year. So some changes in the coaching staff during the first couple of weeks of the offseason. And then also we're hearing that term that we heard back in 2009 when it was a Romo-friendly offense, now to a Dak-friendly offense. So look for the Dallas Cowboys in the draft to try and go out and get some pieces in place to put around Dak Prescott to take some of that playmaking off of his shoulders all the time. And when we go back to the Romo-friendly comment back in 2009, what that eventually panned out to be was a DeMarco Murray leading the NFL in rushing in 2014 along with Dak Prescott, or Des Bryant, who was a matchup nightmare on the outside. Jason Witten still in his prime at that time. So it's about putting some weapons around Dak Prescott to take some of that pressure off of him.
Moose, you've called hundreds of games on Sundays. You've obviously crossed paths with Nick Foles. This is one of the coolest stories we've had in football in a while. What's your impression of Nick Foles and the young man that you met in all those production meetings and covering him as a broadcaster?
Yeah, don't be fooled by his kind of laid-back demeanor. Obviously, he has to be a very competitive person by nature. And I think sometimes we forget about that great season he had a couple of years ago. Still one of the top three seasons all time in quarterback rating. He's the highest-rated quarterback right now through the playoffs, even more so than Tom Brady. So for people that think this is a matchup that's kind of a David versus Goliath with Tom Brady versus Nick Foles, just be wary of how he can play during spurts throughout his career. And that's really one of the things that has sabotaged this run of the New England Patriots. Their 2 losses in the Super Bowl, both to an Eli Manning-led Giants team. Eli Manning playing very, very well right near the end of the season and into the playoffs. And that's exactly what Nick Foles has done through the playoffs. And we hear from Philadelphia that it was all about that open week, that bye week before the divisional round, where they really worked hard at creating that timing. I think we've seen that in both of their victories against the Falcons and then the big win against the Minnesota Vikings. So, this is a quarterback that maybe doesn't have the experience that Tom Brady has, but has the ability to put up a heck of a football game. And I know Eagle fans are hoping he does that on Sunday.
Moose, you went to the Super Bowl 3 times while winning 3 times. So what was that Super Bowl experience like back then, and how is it different now?
Oh, it has grown so much, Nate. It's unbelievable, what it's like in the host cities compared to when we were back there in the early 90s. The amount of media coverage, the scrutiny, just the kind of the celebration and just all the events that are in the host city. It's much different. For us as a team, there was a little bit of a different flavor each time we were able to go. The first time was about as picture perfect as it could have been. Not a lot of adversity during the course of the season. I think we were still under a lot of people's radar back there in 92, 93. I think a lot of people felt we were a year or 2 away being the youngest team in the NFL. The second year was challenging because there was not 2 weeks in between the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, and we had the concussion that Troy Aikman had in that championship game, and with just a short recovery time and a lot of challenges that happened there with the logistics of just getting ready for that game. And then the third time we went, we were not playing our best football through the month of December. Found a way to get back into the playoffs, ended up hosting the NFC Championship game with some things that happened in the playoff and made it out to Arizona. But that was probably the most challenging of the 3 that we did. So, when I reflect back on it, number one, just the size and scope of what the Super Bowl has become. And then there's always something unique about each of those times you go back to the Super Bowl.
3 times he went there, 3 times he won. Darryl Moose Johnston, one of the greatest fullbacks to ever play the game. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
We got a whole
on the show.
Moose, thank you. We've got more guests coming up, Kay.
We do. Coming up, he's the GOAT. This guy, Brady's not joining our show this morning, but we will hear about how his hand is feeling, what the Patriots are doing in preparation. Try to get ring number 6. And Ben Watson was on the Patriots the last time they met the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Today, let's take a moment to honor what Watson's done off the field that's made a difference. Good Morning Football live from Super Bowl 52 after this.